I remember being in high school and having to come up with my aha moment, which was some kind of English exercise that was supposed to make me think critically about some piece of fiction, or help illustrate some underlying theme that I was supposed to clue into in some moment of epiphany. An epiphany is a realization of the underlying reality of something that kind of sneaks up on you and helps you to recontextualize all the things you saw up to this point, like there's some kind of grand synchronicity to the whole thing. So this video obviously contains huge spoilers for Final Fantasy VII, which is almost a 30-year-old game now. However, it also does contain spoilers for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. If someone could explain to me why this occurred to me at this exact moment in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, it would be hugely appreciated. Why this is happening now, some 25 years after first playing the original, is beyond me, but nevertheless, here it is. I kinda just stopped at this one life spring near the Gold Saucer area and listened to the music play for a genuine 2 or 3 minutes, and let the chills kind of just wash over me. The life stream had welled up in this one spot on the ground. Taking the logic of the world seriously would dictate that life originates in a life stream and returns to a life stream when it eventually dies. The whole game is about death, dying, and being dead. Dead in a scientific way, but also in a bizarre convergence with the supernatural. Without the life stream, death is impossible, because life and death is a cycle. One needs to die to allow the life stream to generate new life. Spoilers for Rebirth, but it appears that in some timelines, Mako is gone, and therefore death is impossible. They thought a little bit more about this than I originally gave them credit for. Mako is extracted from the life stream. The animating force of the life stream is diminished and death itself is defeated. But we need death. Death was actually the animating force behind most of the characters in this game. I realized why Cloud is the protagonist and Sephiroth is the villain, and why death is the single unifying thematic principle behind most major story elements, in a physical sense. Barring some notable outliers, all of our characters are driven mad over lost loved ones that cannot be brought back. This was never a story where life was something that could be taken lightly. This wasn't really a cartoon, was it? Barrett lost Dyne, Red lost Seto, Tifa lost her mother, and most importantly, Cloud lost Zack. These people cannot physically come back in any way, but someone does seemingly come back. This is very bad, and is the endpoint and summation of every perversion of nature that takes place in this story. The one person we didn't want to come back from the dead has come back. The whole process behind this is left intentionally mysterious. Cloud is the protagonist because he inverts the process of death in a different way than Sephiroth does. Maybe you can tell what I'm about to say if you played the original. Cloud pretending to be Zack is the most important way in which death is subverted, since Cloud is the main character and also an unreliable narrator. Cloud's acceptance of his original past, the returning of Zack to the realm of death, and Cloud's defeat of Sephiroth in the actual last battle of the game completes the entire theme of the game and returns death to its original power and place in nature. Death cannot be defeated, nor should we want it to be defeated. Something new can occur if nature takes its course, and eventually does at the end of the game. Aerith has to die in order to be in the lifestream. Think of it as a sacrifice, whose ritualistic power is amplified because Aerith is the last ancient. The welling up of the lifestream and the casting of Holy repel Meteor, but the white materia had to fall into the lifestream in order for this to work. Obviously, Aerith and the white materia are only in the lifestream because Sephiroth put them there, completing the cycle of life and death, unbeknownst to Sephiroth. So the whole thing really was about death. Then I remembered something.
When we were creating Final Fantasy III, my mother passed away. And ever since, I have been thinking about the theme, life. Life exists in many things. And I was curious about what would happen if I attempted to analyze life in a mathematical and logical way. Maybe this was my approach in overcoming the grief I was experiencing. This is the first time in the series that this particular theme actually appears in the game itself. See if you can spot it.
Death is the necessary inversion of life. Life exists in many things. This was my aha moment about life, about death, and about the unifying principle of loving those people we've lost. This is why the game endures, and every game since cannot approach it in most regards, We've already dug down into the thematic core that synchronizes with everyone who's played it, since everyone lives and dies. There's nothing else to tell, really. Somehow, I could experience life itself in any scale in that life spring. In one moment of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, that seemed at first benign became pivotal on repeat playthroughs. I guess my brain was just asleep the first time I saw this. The sequence of events that occurred between Cosmo Canyon and the next sequence with Zack were not juxtaposed together at random. There was intent here, and this is Chapter 10, a very important chapter to understand, and completely changes everything that is to follow. We are deviating significantly from what was portrayed on the surface of the original game here, but not deviating in any way if we think only in thematic terms. Bugenhagen lays out the workings of the lifestream and seemingly answers some nagging questions lingering in the back of our minds, subconscious or not. In our next scene, we are greeted with a dying timeline, wherein we take control of Zack and see that the denizens of this timeline have lost their sense of time. Don't look up at the sky, you might not like what you see. The crack seems to denote a world where Mako was gone, finally showing us what would actually happen to the world in the event of zero Mako, or zero lifestream. We can finally see this, rather than just being told it and trusting it at face value. Living things cannot die without the lifestream. Having lost their ability to die, they also lose their ability to live, and have seemingly given up on being alive, and resign themselves to living in a perpetual final day, not unlike the Gi. So we've just revealed why it is that we need to learn so much more about the Gi in this game. We're doing a better job of showing what the world looks like in a failure state than the original game ever did. Bugenhagen is telling us, and then the Zack sequences are showing us. The black materia is recontextualized as a tool that can bring the release from life. We are told on multiple occasions that Jenova can appear as anyone, someone you love, someone you trust, etc., etc., or maybe someone like Barrett. Wasn't he the very first person to call this materia the black materia before the Gi ever called it that? Why did he already know that? Just a side note. We've been deluded for so long thinking it was about life. Life stream, life spring, life returning to the planet. It's really about death, isn't it? Everyone is driven by someone that died. Cloud is the protagonist because he's pretending to be someone that has died. The ultimate subversion of death. But Sephiroth really did come back. The one person we didn't want to come back. This is why Cloud is the protagonist and Sephiroth is the villain, boiled down only to its core elements. After 25 plus years of playing this, I finally just kind of noticed this now, looking at that life spring. I wonder why. Anyway, that's just what I was thinking about.